Is up, guys and gals? This is Timothy here with Ursine Games, and this is the first devlog of the current 2D project that we are working on right now. Um, so, in the first week worth of development, we've got quite a bit implemented. Right now, we're using some placeholder assets. A lot of things are gonna stay, but a lot is still gonna change too. So, that's what we've got here right now. I have the light system on. Let's turn that off real quick. So the main character right now is a placeholder. That's gonna change definitely. Um, this is gonna be a side-scrolling RPG with a little bit of platforming involved. The main mechanic of this is a like push and pull ability. I kind of relate it to like a Jedi Sith kind of like ability, like how they use the Force to push people and objects away from them and pull things towards them, that kind of thing. There was a big bug for a while where if you were facing away from the pushable object and used push or pull, it would affect the thing behind you in the opposite way. I fixed that. It was a pretty simple fix. We'll take a look at my push and pull code in a second. So, yeah, this is going to be the general look of it. It's going to look pretty much like this with with these assets. You know, it's going to look like this kind of style. Um, Whereas the character sprites will probably change. I'm just using placeholders right now, like the mushroom guy and this hero knight character. But the environment assets are probably going to stay the same. Got some trees. I'm going to work on the background some more. So yeah, give it a quick play and show off a little bit of what we got done in the first week. Which I guess isn't a whole lot. We almost lost this project. I was so devastated because Unity started acting up. It was corrupting packages. It wasn't working right. Uh, Completely like crashed. And then when I tried to load it back up, I started getting all these errors. And then it like changed itself. It changed the project to like a previous version of Unity, and that started causing all sorts of problems. And then I tried to like bring it back to the version it was on, and that caused problems. It was just a mess, and like I lost everything, and I thought we were totally toast, but managed to use the collab feature, and I had a previous version I was able to restore it to. Then just so happened I was looking through some old folders and had found a backup I had made of this particular scene, and I was able to load it into this project, and magically everything or a more recent version that we had done pretty much came back like the way it was. Like this is almost where we were, where we left off before it all went to hell. So yeah, I'm using the lightweight render pipeline to use the 2D lighting system, which is really set up a little animation here for this fire, make light, low, the sparks and stuff, the fire. Um, the way the leveling system is going to be implemented is using these campfire type things. I guess you could look at it kind of like a Dark Souls thing where you use the bonfire things to level up and stuff. They're not gonna like do everything the way the bonfires in Dark Souls work. They're not gonna work that way. It's just gonna make it so that you can get your HP and your mana or magic or whatever you want to call it back, your energy, and you can put points into your various stats that you earn. That's another thing we haven't fully decided on yet, is if we're going to have like a full leveling system where you level up and then you get to like distribute points, or if you earn points, you earn experience as you go. You can spend that experience as points to, increase stats. That would be like the Dark Souls way. The other way would be the like a normal leveling up system. Haven't decided which one I'm gonna go with yet. Probably try both, see which one feels better. Play testing. I've set up various layers as foreground, mid-ground objects render behind, foreground objects render in front, doing like all fire and stuff. Um, Another way things are gonna work is when you find a campfire that has a statue there, then you can level up or spend points or however we're gonna do it. But if it's just the campfire, then you just you get your HP and your mana back. So only if there's a statue accompanying the bonfire will you be able to spend your points or level up or however we're gonna do it. So just the campfire, you recover. Campfire plus statue, you recover and you can level up. This little enemy setup. I haven't decided how I'm gonna do the lighting on the enemies yet. If it's gonna work like this, where um, their silhouette, you can only really see him because there's this object behind him, and his light affects the midground and the platforms in the background. I might change that, but the player's light affects everything. So whenever the player's light hits something, it lights it up, even if it already has a light. That's why the fire looks so bright when you get near it. And this, yeah, the enemy, you can't see him until your light reveals him, which is pretty cool. I have to set up a better ground detection system because right now slopes aren't that great, which is a big common problem with 2D games. Um, this happens because you have the ground detection. It's usually pretty small and it's usually like right in the middle, so it doesn't sense the ground under him. But like, if you see, you know, right there, it's detecting it, but then now it doesn't. Enemies don't hurt on touch right now, but I do have the collider set up for that. I just have to write the code for that. But when you hit him, he does take damage and he does get knocked back. Right, he also does die, and this is the push and pull system. Right now, there's nothing to really show that it's working except when something is affected. So, pull him, you can push him. I can actually push him over that. There's a big detection area, and when they're in that, they get affected. And the problem I was talking about, that big problem that we had, was if I was facing this way, and I pushed or pulled, which I'm pressing both of them right now, and nothing's happening. Before, if you tried to push somebody over here, but there was somebody behind you, it would do the opposite. So if I tried to push somebody over here, it would pull whatever's behind you towards you. And if we tried to pull somebody in front of me, it would push whatever's behind. But that was an easy fix, and I will show you guys that code. Right, oh, this little thing, and kill the enemies. Boom. Explodes into chunky, bloody bits, and those all disappear. Got some trees. Got some bushes. Oh, yeah, that got real messed up, huh? I had to fix that. That wasn't like that before. I had to fix those. Yep. And got this light here. That's pretty cool. Huh? I thought that looked pretty cool. I just wanted to like test out some light systems with some of the assets, and it was pretty cool. Here's another little campsite. Um, there was a fire in here too, but lost that because I was working on that. Um, when I uploaded that version and lost everything after working on this fire, and then everything after that is gone. So that sucks, but what are you gonna do, you know? Yeah, that's that. This got messed up because I changed some things around. This is like the control scheme. But yeah. So let's take a look at that code real quick. That. I wonder if this will show up. No, it won't show up. I have to add a window capture. Window capture 2. Yes, and we want it to do that. Cool. There we go. Alright, so that's the movement script. Very basic movement script. Very basic. It's my the way I write my movement scripts now. Here we go. Here's the push. It's so simple. So simple. So we have our push strength and the X and the Y. We have the radius of the push, like what the radius of what can be affected. We have the pull strength, X and Y. We have the transform for the detection radius. It has to be attached to transform to have, a vector 2 or whatever. We have a layer mask. They're both private because you don't want public. And they're serialized so you can see them in the inspector. And we have the player facing direction, which is how we fixed the problem, the bug with the push and pull, pushing and pulling things behind you. And then this accesses the player movement script, just so you can get the facing direction from that, right? And then that's what this is. We just have it set up. We customize that, so we just write this instead of having to, get the component of player movement from the player game object. It saves us having to write this out every single time we want to access that. So yeah, in our update we have the push and pull abilities. You press G, you push. You press F, you pull. Set it to whatever you want. I set it to G and F. And here's the push. So simple. So simple. We set the player facing direction to whatever the facing direction in the movement script is. There is a um, oh, excuse me. Yeah, so it goes into the player movement script, and inside the get facing direction, it just returns the facing direction and assigns it to this inside this script. We have our collider 2D colliders, and it assigns the colliders to whatever it finds inside here, our physics 2D overlap circle all. And it's set to all instead of just overlap circle so that it will return all the colliders that it finds inside that circle, not just one. And it's the transform dot position. Wait, yeah, never mind. So transform dot position, and then the force radius, and then what is forcible. Actually, I don't think it's supposed to be that. I think that's wrong. Hold on. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be force detection dot position. That might actually be why something else is acting up. I don't know why it's that. This might be the old script when I was first writing this. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Here we have a for each, and it is for each collider 2D pushed object. We're assigning a name to every single collider we find inside here. So the overlap circle all finds all the colliders, puts them in here, and then in here we're taking every one that we found in there and assigning it to this. And we say if, you know, that object that it found in the collider section has the tag enemy, then we move on to in here. And we want to access the rigid body of, you know, the push, the object, right? And we're gonna take that rigid body and we're gonna call it the pushed body. So now pushed body means the rigid body of the pushed object that we found in the colliders, right? So then this is how I fixed the problem. We say if the pushed object, which is up here, and it has to have the tag enemy, right? If that pushed object, its transform position, every object has a transform, right? It has to have a location in the world, and that's what transform is. The transform is its x and y and z position and its rotation. So we're saying if its position on the x-axis is greater than the transform of the game object that this script is attached to. So that's what this means. This is the game object that this script is attached to. And it's saying that if the pushed object's x position is greater than this this is x position, so the character's x position, and the player facing direction equals 1, which means the player is facing right and the enemy is to the right of the player. So the enemy is to the right of the player and the player is facing right. So the player is facing the enemy and the player is to the left of the enemy, right? Then we do this. We add force to the rigid body as a new vector 2 with the push strength of the x times the player facing direction. I don't think we actually need that, but I don't want to find out. And then you have to have a force mode 2D, and it's either it's either gonna be impulse. Oops, it's either gonna be impulse or a force, right? And if you look here, impulse at an instant force using its mass, force, add a force. So force is gonna like just apply a force to it, and that's usually like to add like it's usually for like constant force, right? There's impulse, it's like snappy, right? Boom, just hits them. And then we have and then our else if. So we say else if the enemy um, is to the left of the player and the player is facing left. Then we do the same thing, right? Same exact thing. We we add an instant force to them using the using all that. But that's why we need this, because when you take the push strength and you times the player facing direction, if you times it by -1, it makes this a negative number, which means it'll push the enemy to the left instead of to the right. That's why we need that. I remember now. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. But if neither of these is the case, so like if the enemy is to the right of the player, but the player's facing left, right? Nothing will happen. We just return. It means don't do any of this, right? If neither of these is the case, don't do anything. And it's the same thing for the pole. The pole objects, they have to be on the correct side of the player, and the player has to be facing the correct direction. Otherwise, do nothing, right? And then we just have our draw gizmo. So yeah, that just this little thing, setting up the if parameters, the else if parameters, and then else return. Not having that and that bug just bugged me. Would have helped with my game jam too. So yeah, that's my script. I'm actually gonna look into that thing now. Yeah, that's really not supposed to be. Let me change that real quick, cause that's bugging the heck out of me. That might actually fix something. Yeah, that's yeah. So that's that. That's all we really have to show. This is a really long video because I just rambled on for so long. Don't even bother watching this whole video. If you're here now, why did you watch all that? Just me rambling. I don't know. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. Thanks for watching.